Hi everyone, Frederick here, Simple System Trading. Today a new case study on the autotrader. First we will discuss the risk disclosure and we move on. Trading involves substantial risk of loss. It's not suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in the light of your circumstances, knowledge and financial resources. You may lose all or more of your initial investment. Only trade with risk capital. That is, money if lost would not affect your lifestyle or financial stability. Past performance is not indicative of future results. In no event should the content of the website or these videos be used as an express or implied promise, guarantee or implication by me that you will profit or that losses can or will be limited in any manner whatsoever. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not give any trading recommendations to buy or sell financial products. These videos are not recommended trading strategies. You will have to define your own. Please read the full disclosure and terms and conditions on the website. All right. Today we have basically two things I want to show you. The imbalance study I have is also updated with subgraphs. We'll walk that through, and we're going to base our long and short signals based on this imbalance study. And then we will configure the autotrader with two basic setups to trade the signals. Let's start with the imbalance study. The imbalance study, it's on the chart here. Let me just change a few things here to create a few more drawings and explain the new subgraphs we have. If you look at tool values window here, you'll see new subgraphs. The total bid imbalance, the total number of bid blocks, the total ask imbalances, and the number of ask blocks. We also have the high and the low price of these blocks available. If we hover over the different bars, you see, for example, here we have one bid imbalance and one block drawn. And the price is 27.15.25. There's other bars where you see more blocks. So depending on your settings, you will have, you possibly have more blocks drawn. In this case, there's two bid blocks drawn, and there's a total of 4 levels that have bid imbalances. The price you see here is the 13.50, and that's the top price. Whenever you have multiple blocks drawn on the bar, the top one will be the last one that registers the price levels. That's the way it's currently set up to get the prices of the block. There will not be a price available of the lower block here. If you do require that, let me know. I will think of something to add to this study. So I'm gonna set it back to another condition. So I get the imbalances I want. So with these settings, it's not recommended settings in any way, but these are chosen to facilitate this video. With the video, I want to highlight again how you can set up your own signal study, and then how you can configure the autotrader to trade that setup. So here we want to create a signal based on a block being drawn. The imbalance study always draws a block after the bar close. So this bar is closed, it will draw that block. And we can create a signal, in this case a buy signal, around this ask imbalance block. So the way we can do that is use the subgraph. So we're going to check out which subgraph number we have to use to create this signal. So we have the number of ask block imbalances. This is SG6. So SG6 is something we're going to use. We have ID3 of the study. So let's start with a color bar based on alert condition study. And we're going to name it the long signal. I'm going to set this to ignore because we want to use a different way to visualize it. Here we set the alert condition. We had ID3, the study 3, SG6 equals 1. This basically means that if ID3 SG6, so the imbalance study, if the number of number of ask block imbalances is 1, you will have a signal. And this is basically all you need to do for the long signal. You see in the tool values window here, you see in the study added, and if you hover over that particular bar, you see that the long signal is there, a 1 for long. Let's visualize that. We use the color background based on alert condition. So we use that setting. Name it long visual, and we need to set an alert condition. This alert condition is based on the signal study, so that's ID 4. First subgraph equal to 1. And we're gonna color something that can be seen. Let me see. It's the ID2, SG1. Made a little mistake. All right. This is your long signal and your visualization of that signal. Let's do the same thing for the shorts. Let's duplicate the long, we move it down. We start with the name, short, and we want to check the alert condition. It's the same study, but a different subgraph. We had subgraph 4 to be 1. Let's double check that here. We'll check that here. Subgraph 4 is the number of bit block imbalances. Yeah, we want to use that for the short signal. So ID3 subgraph 4 is 1. That will be the short signal. Okay, if we hover over the bar here with the bit block, we see a 1 for the short signal. The alert condition is fine. However, we want to have a -1 on this bar as short signal. We need to tweak a little bit the study settings. There's one setting here. You want to use -1 on false to yes. And you want to adjust the basic alert condition, which is in its basic is fine, but we need to adjust a little bit. We put it in brackets, so a bracket at the end, a bracket in front, and we put an exclamation point in front. That's all you need to do. If you do this, then we hover over that particular bar and see a -1 as a short signal. Now to make that visual, we duplicate that long signal visual, and we set it to be our short visual. Short visual, and based on the short signal ID, that's 5, and we color this one. Let's color it orange. See how that works. Sorry, we did something wrong here. equals -1. Sorry about that. Here we go. So now we have a long signal, short signal set up. It's visual, it's ready to go. So we can check out where we got all those signals on this chart. So let's say we want to trade this. Get a good view on this. So we can see what's going on. Okay, let's start with this long right here. Let's say we get this long signal, nice setup, and we want to buy this. When this happens, we want to limit order one tick above, as we said here in the overview. You want to buy a ask imbalance with a limit order one tick above the imbalance block. That will be a long entry. Okay, so we want to have a buy here. So we know the price of this block. The price of that block is the high price of the ask block. If you see that, the high price of the ask block is 27.0575 right here. Okay, so we can use that in the autotrader to use that price and base the entry price on a subgraph. So I will show you how to do that. For the shorts, we do the same thing, but base the price on the low price of the bid block. We can base our stops as well. Here, the long stop, we will base the stop on this block as well. So we will place a stop below the block. And if it's a short, we'll place it above the block. So right here, if the short entry here, stop right there. So that's what we can use to trade this particular setup. So let's have a look at the autotrader, what we need to do to set this up. We'll add the autotrader here. One very important thing is that the autotrader needs to be below the signal studies. If it's not below the signal studies, signals won't be processed by the autotrader. So autotrader on the lowest position, we can check out some settings. We have session possibilities, 3 sessions to define where you want to trade. Right now, we have not defined anything. But with this, I define one single session for the whole day. But you can choose to enter different sessions. And outside of those sessions, the autotrader will not trade. And in addition, all the way below, there is a few things you can use. You can choose to liquidate, if you're in a position, to liquidate at session stop. If you want to do that, you can use either the session stop of 1, 2, or 3. So that's session number 1, 2, or 3, or on all sessions. So that could easily get you out of a position when you don't want to be in the market. It's also liquidate when turning off. So if you manually switch it off with the button, then you can liquidate your position. You can set that as an option. Please go through the earlier videos in the other blog post where a lot of the options are discussed as well. The button is discussed there and other things as well. So we set a session. We want to use a stop order and we want to use a target order. So we define our own brackets in this case. That's the first case here. We define our own brackets in the autotrader. So one stop order, a target order. The position size is based on the target quantities. So in our case, we're going to go with one target and one stop with a size of 1. The maximum position size should be in accordance with your risk, your maximum risk on position you want to take. This should be the size you're gonna have in any open position at any time. If you set it lower, it will not enter the trade. So if I would set this to 2, target quantity to 2, so it will enter with a size of 2, and I leave this to 1, it will not enter. It will not work. Time in force set today. You could also use good to cancelled if that's supported by your trading service or your broker. Then the most important is the signal study. We defined our signal study. So the long is here and the short is here. We're going to evaluate at bar close. The study we base the signals on is also at bar close, so we'll need to define this at bar close as well. We have an entry order, a limit order in our case, and with the limit order we have to define our entry price. Entry price option here. There's a few. In our case, as discussed, we want to base it on the study SG value of the block prices. So I'm going to select that. If you select study SG value here, then we have to also select the proper study here. For the long, we want to base the entry price on the high price of the ask block. So that will be the high price of the ask block, SG8. For the short, we have the same study, but we're gonna place it on the low price of the bid block right there. And we want to offset. There's an explanation here what offset is. A positive value moves the entry price of the order further away from the current price. So in other words, if you use a -1, you front run your order. So we add a -1 here because we said we want to entry 1 tick above the block, which is a front run at this time. So that's all set. The entry is set. Then we have a cancelling of the limit order. So the limit order would be placed. When do we want to cancel? So let's take a look in our case here. How long would we want to have that order out there? So just for example's sake, let's cancel it after a number of bars. If you select number of bars here, you have to set the right number of bars here. So it's set after 2 bars. We need to fill, else we'll cancel. So that's that. Then we have the target. A first target, well, we have only one target, so where do we want to base it on? So we can make it fixed, we can make it relative to the signal bar, or we can base it on the study SG. In this case, keep it simple. We base it on a 10 tick. So we have a fixed value of 10 ticks as the target. Then for the stop, we said we would base it on the block. So we have to select study SG value here. For the longs have a stop 1 tick below the block. So for the longs, it's ask block. So it's the low price of the ask block. So that will be the low price of the ask block. And for the shorts, we will have the high price of the bid block. And an offset, we have basically, we want to add 1 tick to that stop value. So we can do that here. Add 1 tick. We won't move to break even, but you can choose to if you want. You can trigger a move to break even based on value, based on a target field, if you use multiple targets. We will not use a trailing stop in this case, but you could also use a regular or a trailing stop based on a other study subgraph. A new case study will dive into this. Here are the settings to change your trading based on your daily trade statistics. Pretty straightforward. And that's it for the settings. So what we configured right now is an entry, one tick for the longs here above the block with a stop, one tick below the block, and a 10 tick target. If the trade is not filled in 2 bars, it will be cancelled and be ready for another signal. So that's basically the setup. So let's see how that works on this bar here. It's gonna do a replay and let's see it work. We need to set the other trading global on and the strategy on right now. So clear this log here, and we should be ready for that signal. So expect that long signal here. All right, here we see the order. It's still not filled. It's waiting to get filled. There we go. You have a fill to the tick and inside. So now fill is there. See the target here and the stop there. So it works as intended. There's no stop movement here, so this should all work out. You can move the stop manually if you want. You can move the target manually as well. Won't be a problem. Okay, one thing we can do to test this setup is we're going to do a bar-based backtest. Let's do a bar-based backtest of this setup like that. And let's walk through a few of the trades that were made. See here, there was a long here with a stop below. The stop was actually executed here. Target was too far out. Then we had this block formed here. We're not in a position, so we enter here and we get stopped out right here. The fills on a replay or a bar-based backtest might not be always the ones in live trading. There's some differences, but you see what the other trader is doing. Here, for instance, we entered and we hit the target. Here we entered and we got stopped out. And there's all kinds of money management you could perform with this. Here's another example. Stop out. This one was not filled, unfortunately. You see, it's one tick above, no fill. And this one was filled. Nice target hit. And this one had an initial move that was okay, but then we stopped out. And you can check out the trade activity in the log here and get some trade statistics. This is then a way you could create your own strategy. The second case is that we said, I want my own brackets. I don't want the brackets inside the autotrader. That's also possible. If you want to do that, we'll have to set use the share chart GUI, and we will have to not use stops and not use targets. And if you don't use stops and targets, you will have to set the size here. In this case 1, which is fine. So in this case, we will use the entries. The autotrader will arrange the entries, and the brackets will be arranged by, in this case, the share chart. So let's say we set the target here 2 and the stop of 1, and then we run the whole thing. Sorry, we run the whole thing again. Then you'll see 1-point stop outs and 2-point targets most of the time. So if you have some kind of let's see, if you have some kind of bracket configuration you really like, then you can still use the autotrader for your entries based on subgraphs and all, and trade it with your brackets you already have. So here's a nice example of a winner, a quick stop out, and another winner. So those were the 2 cases I wanted to show you. So the autotrader has a lot more options, but that's for a new video. Let me know what you think. If you have ideas on something you're working on yourself and you want to see if the autotrader can support it, let me know, hit me up, and I will try to make a video of it. Thanks for your attention, and have a great day. Bye-bye.